Have you ever been told the hard truth about life after turning 80? When you cross into your 80s, there's a subtle shift that happens, one that many people don't talk about. It's not just about things like birthdays or slower mornings, but deeper, often unspoken changes. It's a time of both wisdom and loss, of being present and yet feeling distant, experiencing deep peace, while also sometimes feeling deeply lonely. If you're not prepared for some of these changes, they can take you by surprise, leaving you wondering, why didn't anyone tell me about this? In this video, we'll discuss 5 tough realities of life after 80. The goal isn't to scare or depress you, but to provide some clarity. When you're aware of these shifts, you can face them with strength instead of being caught off guard. We'll talk about things like shrinking social circles, how your body doesn't recover like it used to, the growing dependence that feels uncomfortable, even though it's necessary, and how society can start to overlook older people. There's a strange ache that comes when old regrets meet too much time and too little purpose. It stays with us, lingering until the end. While some of these truths may feel heavy, they also lead to something powerful: acceptance, resilience, and a chance to shape the final years of your life with the kind of dignity that no one else can define but you. Let's talk about what really happens after 80 and how you can face it with clear eyes, steady hands, and your head held high. Number 1, a social circle that quietly disappears. One of the first things that hits after 80 isn't physical, it's relational. The people who once filled your life begin to fade, often without warning. Friends pass away, neighbors move, siblings become quieter, and even longtime companions who used to call every week now only reach out every few months. It's not personal, it's just time. But it creates a space that can feel empty, no matter how strong or independent you are. One morning you wake up and realize the phone doesn't ring like it used to. Invitations slow down, family visits get shorter and more rushed. People still love you, but they're busy or distracted, or dealing with their own aging in different ways. Slowly, the everyday interactions that once kept your life filled with voices and laughter start to fade away. No one prepares you for this. In your 60s and 70s, most people are still around. There's energy, movement, check-ins. But after 80, things change. You start to outlive people and outpace conversations. And this change is so quiet, you might not even notice at first. I knew a man named Walter who was 84. He went to the same coffee shop every morning for years. The staff knew his order. His friends met him there without needing to text. It was a rhythm. But over time, his friends stopped showing up. Some passed away, some moved, and others just stopped driving. One day, Walter told me, "It's strange to walk into a place where everyone used to know your name, and now you're just the man in the corner booth." The pain of that kind of loneliness is hard to describe. Loneliness isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with tears or obvious grief. Sometimes it's just the long silence after dinner, or a walk that feels a little too quiet. It's the realization that the list of people who truly know you is getting shorter, and you can't stop it. But knowing this truth gives you the chance to do something about it. You can open new doors, even when others have closed. You can stay connected on your terms, through a church group, a weekly lunch, a phone call you initiate, or even a letter, because after 80, connection doesn't come to you the way it used to. You have to seek it out, and that takes courage. But you've made it this far, so you already have that courage inside you. Number 2, a body that stops bouncing back. By the time you reach 80, your body doesn't just whisper, it speaks clearly. The small aches that used to come and go now linger. The fatigue that used to fade after a nap may stretch into the next day. What catches many people off guard is this: after 80, even minor health issues can change your life overnight. You might wake up feeling fine, go about your day, and by evening, something feels off. A little dizziness, a sore leg, a cough that sticks around longer than expected. And suddenly, you find yourself in a waiting room, hearing words like monitoring, imaging, or possible admission. What used to be something you could brush off with rest now demands more attention, and often, there's no going back to how things were before. What makes this stage especially tough isn't just the physical pain, it's the unpredictability. You can do everything right, eat well, move gently, get your sleep, and still feel like your body is one step ahead, making decisions you didn't agree to. A misstep on the stairs might lead to weeks of recovery. A stomach bug can drain you for days. And even when you recover, things don't always return to normal. Your balance might feel off, your breathing might take more effort. The bounce back just isn't what it used to be. I once met a woman named Gloria, 81, who was sharp, active, and proud of her independence. She loved tending to her backyard garden. Walking Gloria, who was 81, loved staying active in her neighborhood, engaging with her book club, and tending to her backyard garden. But after a minor fall while trimming a rose bush, everything changed. It wasn't the injury, she said, it was the aftermath. Weeks of rest turned into months of reduced strength. My confidence slipped. She added, "I thought I was just taking a break, but my body treated it like a full stop. That's the part no one tells you. At 80, rest doesn't always restore you in the same way. Instead, it can lead to a slow decline if you're not careful. And sometimes, even if you're careful, your body just decides to slow down anyway. You realize you're not bouncing back, you're adapting forward. But there's strength in knowing this. You start to honor your energy more wisely. You learn to pace yourself, not out of fear, but out of respect for all your body has been through. You start to treat your health not as something guaranteed, but as a daily practice, something sacred. And when you do that, even if the bounce back is gone, your footing becomes steadier. You walk slower, but with more awareness. You rest longer, but more intentionally. You begin to see that even a slower body can still carry a strong spirit. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend doing so and turning on the bell so you don't miss any new videos. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires you. Number 3, a growing need for help. No matter how independent you are, one of the hardest realities after 80 is this: you start needing help for things you used to do without thinking. It doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in quietly, subtly, until one day you realize you're avoiding the high cabinets, gripping the railing a little tighter, or hesitating before getting behind the wheel on a rainy day. Even though part of you still feels capable, another part knows some things just aren't as easy anymore. What makes this shift difficult isn't just the physical change, it's the emotional one. For those who've spent decades taking care of others, the thought of needing help can feel deeply uncomfortable. You might start to feel like a burden, or you may hide what you can no longer do, skipping a grocery trip, not telling your kids you tripped while trying to change a light bulb, even though your shoulder's been hurting for weeks. The desire to remain independent doesn't disappear. In fact, it might grow stronger. But the truth is, independence after 80 looks different than it did at 60. It's not about doing everything on your own. It's about knowing when to ask for help and being brave enough to accept it. I once knew a man named Eugene, 85, who was incredibly proud of doing everything himself. He had lived through a war, raised 4 kids, and built his own shed with nothing but spare wood and determination. But one winter, he slipped on his icy driveway. No broken bones, just bruised pride. He didn't tell anyone, but his daughter noticed something was off. She started showing up once a week to bring groceries and stay for coffee. At first, Eugene resisted. "I'm fine," he would say, but over time that weekly coffee became a ritual. Eventually, Eugene admitted something that even surprised him. It's nice not having to carry everything alone. That's the shift. It's not about weakness, it's about wisdom. Accepting help isn't a loss of independence, it's a way to protect it. When you let someone help you climb the stairs, drive you to the doctor, or carry a heavy bag, you're actually giving yourself more years of doing what truly matters. And not all help has to come from other people. It could be something as simple as a grab bar in the shower, a stool in the kitchen, or a reminder on the fridge. These small supports don't take away your dignity, they preserve it. After 80, the bravest thing you can say might just be, "I could use a hand." Because the older you get, the more strength it takes to choose safety over pride, peace over struggle, and connection over isolation. Number 4, a presence the world starts to overlook. One of the more painful realities of life after 80 isn't about your body or memory, it's about your presence. Slowly, you begin to feel invisible. Not to the people who love you, perhaps, but to the world at large. The cashier looks past you to the person behind you. The doctor talks to your adult child instead of you. The server at the restaurant assumes you can't hear, think, or make decisions for yourself. At first, it's subtle, then it becomes more frequent. Even if you try to brush it off, it hits deep, because no matter how old we are, we still want to be seen. After you've lived a full life, worked hard, raised a family, made decisions, and weathered storms, it's jarring to feel dismissed just because your skin is folded or your hair has turned gray. What hurts even more is that it's rarely done with malice. It's a fast world that forgets that slow steps still carry stories, a society obsessed with youth that overlooks the strength it took to reach this age. And unless you speak up, you risk fading into the background, not because you've lost your voice, but because others have stopped listening. I remember a woman named Irene, 86, who volunteered at a local museum. One day, a visitor asked a question she could have answered in her sleep, having lived through that very decade of history. But the question skipped right over her. When I asked how she felt about it, she just smiled and said, "I'm used to." But there was sadness in that smile, the kind that comes from being seen as furniture rather than fire. But you are not furniture. You are not background. You are still here, still thinking, still contributing. And just because the world sometimes forgets that, doesn't mean you have to. So, what can you do? You speak anyway. You ask questions, offer opinions, vote, and share your stories, even when no one asks. You stand up, even if your knees wobble, Because every time you claim your space in the room, you remind the world and yourself that you are not done yet. You are not invisible. You are a living story. A library is a witness to time, a voice that still matters. You don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to refuse to disappear. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend doing so and turning on the bell so you don't miss any new video. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 5. A sense of regret if purpose isn't redefined. As you move deeper into your 80s, a strange quiet can settle in, not just in your home or your schedule, but inside you. Life slows down, the calendar isn't as full, and with that slowness comes space to reflect, remember, replay. That can be beautiful, but if you're not careful, it can also become something heavy. Not the loud, dramatic kind, but the quiet kind. The I wish I'd spent more time with them kind. The why didn't I take that chance when I had it kind. The kind that shows up when you have time, but not always the energy or freedom to do the things you once postponed. This is something people don't talk about much. We celebrate the wisdom that comes with aging, the freedom of retirement, the joy of grandchildren, and all of that is real. But so is the lingering unspoken question, what now? If you've spent your whole life working, giving, raising, serving, and then it all stops, it can feel like your purpose fades with it. I knew a man named Stanley, 88. He had been a teacher for over 40 years. After he retired, he felt proud but strangely hollow. No one needs me anymore, he said, but that wasn't true. He just hadn't found a new way to be needed. Because purpose doesn't retire, it changes shape. Maybe you don't build houses anymore, but you build confidence in your great-grandkids with your stories. Maybe you don't lead meetings, but you lead with your presence when someone is grieving. Maybe you don't solve big problems, but you solve loneliness with a smile to a neighbor. The danger of regret isn't in making mistakes, we all have. It's in sitting with those mistakes too long without turning them into something meaningful. When you redefine purpose, not as productivity but as presence, you begin to realize that you still have so much to give, not just to others, but to yourself. The most important work you'll do after 80 may not be for legacy or applause. It may be simply waking up with kindness in your heart, curiosity in your eyes, and enough courage to ask, how can I bring light today, even if just a little? That's not regret, that's redemption, and it's never too late to find it. Final thoughts. Reaching your 80s is no small achievement. It's a milestone built on decades of love, loss, effort, change, and resilience. But with that strength comes new challenges, some subtle, others hard to ignore. Facing these realities doesn't make you weak, it makes you honest. It means you've lived long enough to see life for what it truly is, unpredictable, sometimes unfair, but still deeply worth showing up for. So, which of these 5 realities resonated with you the most? Was it the silence when your social world begins to shrink? The frustration of a body that doesn't recover like it used to? The discomfort of needing help when you've spent your life helping? Or maybe it was the invisible feeling that comes when the world moves too fast to notice you, or the ache that grows when your purpose feels unclear. Whatever it was, I hope you felt seen. Because the truth is, you're not alone in any of this. Not in the slowing down, not in the forgetting, not in the questions that keep you up at night, or the moments that make you wonder what comes next. And here's the good news. Even now, at this stage of life, you still get to choose. You can choose connection. You can choose rest. This chapter of life isn't the end. It's the deep part of the story. It's the part where every word carries meaning, where small gestures hold more value than grand ones ever did. It's the part where your presence, your patience, and your perspective become your greatest strength. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep creating meaningful content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.